What if I told you that most of the chaos in your life doesn't come from the outside world, but from your own mind? Think about it. The traffic jam isn't stressful, your reaction to it is. The rude comment from a coworker isn't painful, it's how you dwell on it that hurts. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. The Stoics knew this secret centuries ago, and it's more relevant today than ever. In a world constantly pulling at your attention, social media, breaking news, endless notifications, how often do you stop to wonder, who's in control here? Most people spend their lives on autopilot, letting their minds run wild, reacting to every little thing. They scroll endlessly, procrastinate, worry about things they can't change, and then wonder why they feel exhausted. But what if you could flip the script? What if you could train your mind to work for you, not against you? Here's the twist. You don't need to meditate for hours, live in a cave, or give up everything you love. The Stoics had practical tools that anyone can use to build mental strength, clarity, and resilience. And today, I'm handing you those tools, one step at a time. Before we dive into the lessons, think about this. If you can learn to control your mind, you can change your life. It's not magic, it's a skill. And like any skill, it requires practice. To be calm is the highest achievement of the self. Zen proverb. So, if you've ever felt like your thoughts are running the show, or if you want to unlock a level of inner peace that no outside force can shake, this is your moment. Don't just read, join the journey. Like, subscribe, and let's take back control of our minds, Stoic style. You ready? Hit that like button if you're ready to take charge, and let's turn chaos into calm. Lesson 1. Define what you can control and let go of the rest. Some things are up to us, and some things are not. Epictetus. Picture this. You're standing in the middle of a storm. Wind whips around you, rain pours down, and the sky flashes with lightning. Your instinct? To fight it, yell at the sky, curse the storm, maybe even try to outrun it. But here's the hard truth. No matter how much you scream or run, the storm will rage on. The only thing you can truly control is how you choose to respond. This is the cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, understanding what's within your control and what isn't. Epictetus made it simple. There are things we influence, like our actions, thoughts, and decisions. Then there are things entirely out of our hands, other people's opinions, the weather, or the traffic on Monday morning. Yet, so many of us waste energy trying to change the unchangeable. Think about your daily frustrations. Maybe your coworker makes a passive-aggressive comment, or your favorite team loses the game. You stew over it, replaying the scenario in your head, wishing things were different. But no matter how much mental real estate you give it, the comment was made and the game is over. Your frustration doesn't change the past, it only drains you. Here's the game-changing mindset shift. Focus only on what you can control. This means redirecting your energy from the uncontrollable to your reactions, attitudes, and actions. Instead of worrying about the co-worker's comment, you can control how you respond, calmly, confidently, and without letting it ruin your day. Instead of lamenting the loss, you can choose to enjoy the sport, learn from the game, or simply move on. It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Epictetus. At first, this idea might feel too simple, almost naive, but try it in real life. The next time you feel stressed or upset, pause and ask yourself, can I control this situation? If the answer is yes, take action. If the answer is no, release it. Imagine how much lighter your mind will feel when you stop carrying battles that aren't yours to fight. The Stoics weren't emotionless robots. They experienced anger, sadness, and frustration just like us. The difference was in their ability to detach from what didn't serve them. They believed that peace doesn't come from controlling the world. It comes from controlling your response to it. So here's your first step. The next time something annoys you, visualize a mental sorting box. Put the situation into one of two categories: things I can control and things I can't. Then let go of the second pile. You'll be surprised how quickly your mental clarity and focus improve. And remember, practicing this takes time. You won't master it overnight, but every small effort you make to release what's beyond your power brings you closer to a calm, controlled mind. Because, at the end of the day, why waste your energy shouting at the storm when you could use that energy to build a stronger shelter? Lesson 2. Master the art of pausing before reacting. If a person is disturbed by external things, it is not those things that disturb them, but their judgment about them. And it is within their power to wipe out that judgment now. Marcus Aurelius. Have you ever reacted so quickly to something that you regretted it moments later? Maybe someone cut you off in traffic and you immediately honked and shouted, only to realize later it wasn't even that big of a deal. Or perhaps you fired off a heated email, only to wish you had taken a moment to cool down before hitting send. These snap reactions can feel automatic, like we're at the mercy of our emotions. But here's the truth. Between every event and your reaction, there's a space. Imagine your mind as a vast lake. When an external event, good or bad, throws a rock into the lake, it creates ripples. Reacting immediately is like trying to calm the ripples with your hands. You only create more chaos. But if you pause and let the ripples settle on their own, the lake becomes calm again. He who is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he who rules his spirit than he who takes a city. Proverbs 16:32. Pausing isn't about suppressing your emotions or pretending they don't exist. It's about giving yourself the time to understand them before they dictate your actions. Think about how often anger, impatience, or fear has led you to decisions you later regret. Here's a practical exercise. The next time you feel triggered, stop and take 3 deep breaths. Literally, 3 slow inhales and exhales. This tiny act does wonders. It shifts your focus from the intensity of the moment to your breathing, giving your brain a chance to step out of autopilot mode. The more you practice pausing, the more natural it becomes. Over time, you'll find that the moments that once triggered you lose their grip. Life won't stop throwing rocks into your lake, but you'll learn to let the ripples fade on their own, and your mind will remain calm, steady, and powerful. Master the pause, and you master yourself. Lesson 3. Turn obstacles into opportunities. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Marcus Aurelius. What if every challenge you faced wasn't a setback, but a stepping stone? The Stoics believed that obstacles weren't something to avoid or resent. Instead, they saw them as vital opportunities to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Think about the last time you faced a roadblock. Maybe you missed out on a job you really wanted, or a relationship didn't work out the way you'd hoped. It's easy to see these moments as failures, to feel defeated or bitter. But here's the shift. What if those obstacles were exactly what you needed? Imagine you're climbing a mountain. Along the way, you encounter a boulder blocking your path. You could turn around, cursing your bad luck, or you could use the boulder as a stepping stone to reach higher ground. Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. Seneca. This mindset isn't just inspiring, it's practical. When you encounter a problem, instead of dwelling on how unfair or inconvenient it is, Ask yourself, how can I use this? If you're stuck in traffic, use the time to listen to an inspiring podcast. If you've been criticized at work, see it as a chance to improve or clarify your perspective. Of course, this isn't easy. In the heat of the moment, it's natural to feel frustration, anger, or even despair. That's why this lesson requires practice. Start small. The next time something doesn't go your way, pause and ask, what is this teaching me? Maybe a long line at the store teaches you patience. Maybe a failed project teaches you resilience and adaptability. This doesn't mean every obstacle will magically transform into success. Some struggles will be deeply painful, and their lessons may take time to reveal themselves. But even in the darkest moments, there's power in asking, what can I learn from this? How can I grow through this? That shift in perspective gives you control over how you face life's hardships. What stands in your way right now? Instead of resisting it, try leaning into it. The path forward isn't around the obstacle, it's through it. Lesson 4. Focus on your actions, not the outcome. Do not let your happiness depend on things outside your control. Epictetus. How often do we tie our sense of success, happiness, or self-worth to outcomes we can't fully control? Maybe it's a promotion at work, hitting a personal goal, or getting someone's approval. The problem with this mindset is that it makes our peace conditional, dangling just out of reach unless everything goes perfectly. The Stoics, however, offered a different way to live. Focus entirely on your actions and let go of the need to control the results. Imagine you're an archer. Your job is to prepare, aim, and release the arrow. But once it leaves the bow, the outcome, whether it hits the target or not, is out of your hands. A gust of wind, an unexpected distraction, or a flaw in the target could alter its path. This lesson is powerful because it applies to nearly every area of life. Let's say you're working on a big project at work. You can give it your full effort, prepare meticulously, and put your best skills on display. The fruit of your own labors is the sweetest. Publilius Cyrus. This doesn't mean you shouldn't care about results. It means detaching your happiness and self-worth from them. You can still strive for excellence, aim high, and hope for success. But instead of worrying about whether you'll achieve your desired outcome, focus on the effort you're putting in today. A practical way to implement this mindset is by setting process-based goals instead of outcome-based goals. For example, if you want to get fit, don't obsess over losing a specific number of pounds. Instead, commit to exercising 4 times a week and eating balanced meals. Those are actions within your control. The weight loss, while likely to follow, is not guaranteed, and pinning your happiness to it is unnecessary stress. The Stoics remind us that outcomes are fleeting. A promotion might make you happy for a moment, but the next challenge will soon arise. What stays with you is the discipline, effort, and character you build along the way. So focus on what you can control, your actions. Let the rest unfold as it will. Lesson 5. Embrace discomfort to build resilience. If you wish to improve, be content to appear clueless or stupid in extraneous matters. Don't wish to seem knowledgeable. Epictetus. Comfort zones are seductive. They shield us from uncertainty, pain, and failure, wrapping us in a warm cocoon of safety. But here's the truth the Stoics understood. Nothing truly worthwhile is born from staying comfortable. Growth, strength, and resilience are forged in the fire of discomfort. Think about physical exercise. To build strength, you don't lounge on the couch lifting a feather. You push your muscles to their limits, enduring soreness and fatigue, because you know that's how they grow stronger. Your mind and spirit work the same way. Difficulties are what show men's character. Epictetus. Imagine you're preparing for a big presentation at work, but public speaking terrifies you. The discomfort urges you to avoid it, to hand the task off to someone else, to stay hidden in the crowd. But what if instead you leaned into the discomfort? What if you practiced your speech every day, even when your voice shook and your palms sweated? Stoics practice this principle through voluntary hardship. They deliberately expose themselves to minor discomforts, such as fasting, taking cold baths, or wearing simple clothing to remind themselves of what they could endure. This wasn't about unnecessary suffering, it was about building mental resilience and gratitude. You can apply this in small, everyday ways. Take on a difficult task you've been avoiding, like learning a new skill or addressing a lingering conflict. Skip a luxury you usually indulge in to remind yourself of your ability to do without it. Challenge yourself to sit with uncomfortable emotions, like fear or sadness, rather than numbing them with distractions. Resilience isn't built overnight. It's a practice, a deliberate choice to lean into what's uncomfortable rather than shy away. The Stoics teach us that by embracing discomfort, we don't just survive hardships, we transform them into stepping stones for a stronger, more capable self. So, the next time you feel discomfort tugging at you, don't run, step forward. That's where your growth begins. Lesson 6. Practice negative visualization to appreciate what you have. He robs present ills of their power who has perceived their coming beforehand. Seneca. What if the secret to happiness wasn't adding more to your life, but learning to appreciate what you already have? The Stoics had a profound yet counterintuitive way to cultivate gratitude, imagining loss. They called this practice premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. By vividly imagining the loss of what you cherish, your health, loved ones, job, or even your life itself, you awaken a deeper appreciation for these things in the present. Imagine holding your favorite mug. You drink from it every day without much thought. Now, imagine it slipping from your hand, shattering on the floor, gone forever. For a moment, you feel the pang of loss, but when you set the mug down safely, it suddenly feels more valuable. Do not indulge in dreams of having what you have not, but reckon up the chief of the blessings you do possess, and then thankfully remember how you would crave for them if they were not yours. Marcus Aurelius. Our minds are wired to take things for granted. Once we achieve something, a relationship, a milestone, a material possession, it quickly becomes part of the background, no longer a source of joy. Negative visualization snaps us out of this autopilot mode. This practice also prepares us for life's inevitable losses. The Stoics understood that nothing in life is permanent. Loved ones leave, possessions break, health declines, and life itself eventually ends. By contemplating these possibilities in advance, you become less fragile. The Stoics teach us that life's true wealth isn't found in acquiring more, but in valuing what we already have. By imagining its loss, we bring its worth into sharp focus. And in that newfound clarity, we find a gratitude so deep that it changes how we experience every moment. Don't wait for something to be taken from you to realize its value. Appreciate it fully today. Lesson 7. Stop worrying about what others think. I cannot escape death, but at least I can escape the fear of it. I cannot control others' opinions, but I can control my own. Marcus Aurelius. How much of your life is shaped by the opinions of others? From the clothes you wear to the career path you choose, how often do you let the judgments of others dictate your actions? The Stoics believed that one of the greatest traps we fall into is the desire for approval. When you live for the applause of others, you hand over control of your happiness to people who may never truly understand you, or worse, who don't even care. Freedom begins when you stop worrying about what others think and focus on living in alignment with your own values. Think about it. Opinions are as fickle as the wind. One day you're celebrated, the next you're criticized. Trying to please everyone is like chasing shadows, an exhausting, endless game that leaves you empty. The Stoics recognized this trap and reminded us that we can't control how others perceive us. What we can control is how we perceive ourselves. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor. Seneca. To crave approval is to be poor in spirit, always needing more validation to feel worthy. But here's the thing. Most people are so consumed by their own worries and insecurities that they rarely think about you as much as you imagine. Instead of chasing external validation, the Stoics teach us to focus inward. Define your principles, honesty, kindness, perseverance, or whatever matters most to you, and let those be your compass. When you act in alignment with your values, you'll find an unshakable sense of self-worth that doesn't depend on anyone's approval. True freedom is living in a way that aligns with your values, not others' expectations. The world will always have opinions, but the only one that truly matters is your own. Stop worrying about what others think. Start living for yourself. Lesson 8. Accept fate with grace and resilience. Fate leads the willing and drags along the reluctant. Seneca life rarely unfolds the way we plan. A job opportunity falls through. A loved one leaves unexpectedly. Health, once taken for granted, becomes fragile. The Stoics understood that much of life is beyond our control, dictated by forces far greater than our will. Instead of resisting or lamenting this reality, they taught us to embrace it. Imagine you're on a river, paddling downstream. You can fight against the current, exhausting yourself and getting nowhere. Or you can flow with it, steering wisely where you can, but ultimately allowing the river to take you forward. Everything that happens as it should, and if you observe carefully, you will find this to be so. Marcus Aurelius. This doesn't mean the Stoics believed everything that happens is inherently good. Tragedies, losses, and hardships are real and painful, but they argued that resisting these events only compounds the suffering. Take, for example, the story of Epictetus. Born into slavery, he endured a life of hardship and even physical abuse. Yet, instead of becoming bitter, he saw his circumstances as a test of character. Through his suffering, he discovered the freedom of his own mind, the one thing no external force could take from him. In practical terms, accepting fate doesn't mean giving up on improving your situation. If there's an opportunity to change your circumstances for the better, the Stoics encouraged taking it. What it does mean is letting go of the emotional resistance to what already is. Accept your fate not with resignation, but with resolve. That's where true freedom begins. Lesson 9. Detach from possessions to find true freedom. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Epictetus. Imagine how much of your time, energy, and mental space is tied up in the things you own or the things you wish you owned. A new phone, a bigger house, trendier clothes, or the latest gadget. Modern life constantly tempts us with the promise that more will make us happier. But the Stoics believed that true freedom lies in detachment from possessions. Think about it. How often do we let possessions define us? We work long hours for things we think will make us happy, only to realize that joy is fleeting. A new car loses its excitement in weeks. The latest fashion trends fade quickly, yet we keep chasing, piling on more debt, stress, and dissatisfaction. He who is not a slave to riches, honors, or pleasures is also free from the fear of losing them. Seneca. When you detach from possessions, you also free yourself from fear. The fear of losing what you own, the fear of not measuring up to others, the fear of never having enough. Here's an analogy. Imagine carrying a beautiful vase. If you're overly attached to it, every step becomes stressful because you fear it might fall and break. But if you view the vase as something you enjoy but don't need, you walk with ease. The vase is still precious, but its potential loss no longer controls you. Practicing detachment starts with mindfulness. Begin by asking yourself, do I really need this? Before making a purchase or chasing the next big thing, pause and reflect. Are you filling a genuine need, or are you trying to fill an emotional void with material goods? By learning to detach, you reclaim your freedom. You stop chasing and start appreciating. You let go of the weight of needing more and discover the lightness of living with less. True happiness, the Stoics remind us, isn't found in what we possess, but in who we become. Lesson 10. Align your life with nature's flow. Follow the way of nature. It is both the path of reason and the guide to happiness. Marcus Aurelius. Life feels chaotic when we resist its natural rhythms, when we fight against change, cling to what's fleeting, or demand that things go precisely as we wish. The Stoics believed that to live a harmonious life, we must align ourselves with the flow of nature. This isn't about retreating into the wilderness, though time in nature certainly helps. It's about understanding and accepting the natural order of life. Seasons change, people grow and leave, and nothing stays the same forever. Imagine a river flowing steadily downstream. You can swim with the current, moving effortlessly toward your destination, or you can struggle against it, exhausting yourself for no gain. Life's flow is that river. The more you resist it, demanding things remain unchanged, resenting unexpected detours, or wishing the world worked differently, the more you suffer. The Stoics remind us that peace comes not from controlling the river, but from adapting to its course. To align your life with nature, start by observing its patterns. Everything in nature thrives on balance and adaptation. Trees shed leaves in autumn to conserve energy for winter. Animals adjust their habits with the seasons, and rivers carve new paths when they meet resistance. For example, consider how often we cling to the idea of permanence. We want relationships, jobs, and even happiness to last forever. But life is cyclical, and clinging to what must inevitably change only leads to disappointment. By embracing the Stoic principle of impermanence, you can approach change not as a threat, but as a natural part of life's flow. Ultimately, aligning with nature means accepting life as it comes, trusting that every event has its place in the grand design. The Stoics remind us that we are part of this vast, interconnected system. By flowing with life instead of against it, we find not only peace, but also purpose, strength, and a deeper sense of belonging in the world. Lesson 11. Cultivate inner peace through virtue. No man can have a peaceful life who thinks too much about lengthening it or believes that life depends on luck. Seneca. What does it take to achieve true inner peace? For the Stoics, peace wasn't found in wealth, fame, or external success. It wasn't about avoiding challenges or escaping life's chaos. Instead, it came from living a life of virtue, a life guided by wisdom, courage, self-discipline, and justice. Imagine you're a ship captain navigating a stormy sea. The winds howl, the waves crash, and your instincts scream for control. Yet amidst the chaos, your compass remains steady, pointing north. For the Stoics, virtue is that compass. It is not external things that disturb us, but our judgment about them. Epictetus. Living virtuously means focusing on what truly matters, your character. The world may tempt you with shortcuts, selfishness, or compromises, but inner peace comes from knowing you acted rightly even when it was difficult. Did you stand up for what was just, even if it cost you something? The Stoics remind us that peace is not a passive state, it's a practice. Start by reflecting on your daily choices. Were your actions today aligned with your values? If not, why? This isn't about beating yourself up, but about taking responsibility for your growth courageously. Finally, recognize that inner peace is built over time. It's the result of consistent effort, not a one-time achievement. Think of it like tending a garden. Each time you choose patience over anger, wisdom over impulsiveness, or kindness over selfishness, you're planting seeds. Over time, those seeds grow into a flourishing sense of peace that isn't swayed by life's ups and downs. The Stoics believed that life's greatest gift is the ability to live virtuously. External circumstances will come and go, but your commitment to virtue is what shapes the quality of your life. By anchoring yourself in principles that matter, you create an unshakable foundation of inner peace, a calm center that remains steady, no matter how chaotic the world becomes. Lesson 12. Remember the bigger picture to stay grounded. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Marcus Aurelius. Life often feels overwhelming because we get lost in the minutiae of daily struggles, the work deadlines, the relationship tensions, the minor inconveniences that pile up. The Stoics, however, believed that many of our anxieties could be eased by zooming out and seeing the bigger picture. Imagine standing on a mountaintop, looking down at a bustling city. From that height, the noise, traffic, and chaos seem insignificant. The arguments, the stress, the endless to-do lists, all of it fades into the background. Man is but a reed, the most feeble thing in nature, but he is a thinking reed. Blaise Pascal. Recognizing our smallness doesn't diminish us, it liberates us. When you understand that your time here is limited, you stop wasting it on trivialities. You let go of grudges, ego-driven ambitions, and the fear of what others think. The Stoics also remind us that life is unpredictable. You can plan and strive all you want, but the universe operates on its own terms. Accepting this doesn't mean giving up. It means embracing the flow of life with humility and grace. Instead of clinging to outcomes or fighting against reality, you align yourself with it. One powerful practice to keep the bigger picture in mind is the Stoic meditation on mortality. Far from being morbid, reflecting on your finite time can be deeply grounding. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about death, not as a source of fear, but as a reminder to live fully. Another way to stay grounded is to connect with something greater than yourself. For some, this might mean nature, walking among trees, gazing at the stars, or feeling the ocean's vastness. For others, it might be engaging with philosophy, art, or spirituality. What seems monumental now is often just a passing moment in the grander scheme of things. Embrace the bigger picture, and you'll find freedom in its clarity. So, here we are, at the end of the lessons, but really just the beginning of your journey. Take a moment. Pause. Reflect on everything you've just read. Feels powerful, doesn't it? It's like unlocking a secret you've always had within you, the ability to control your mind, reshape your thoughts, and by doing so, reshape your entire life. Right now, you're already ahead of the curve. Most people spend their lives reacting, worrying, and chasing things outside their control. But you've tapped into something deeper. You've begun to realize that mind over body is more than just a phrase. It's a way of living. When you learn to guide your mind, the body follows. The external noise fades. What seemed impossible starts to feel like just another step on your path. Drop your thoughts in the comments, seriously. Let's make this a real conversation. I want to hear what shifted in your mind, what resonated, or even what challenged you. And if you're sitting there thinking, I need to remember this, hit that like button. It's your way of anchoring this moment in your mind. And hey, If this resonated with you, imagine how many people out there need to hear this. Share it with a friend who could use a little more calm, a little more clarity, or just a nudge in the right direction. Lastly, if you're ready to take this journey further, subscribe. This isn't just about reading or watching. It's about growing together. Each lesson is a step, and there's so much more ahead. Let's build something meaningful, a community where we challenge our minds, rise above our doubts, and learn to live like Stoics. Not perfectly, but purposefully. So, let's talk. How are you going to use what you've learned today? The mind is yours to shape. What's your first step?